Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United transfer news as Ineos prepare to pull off a worldie. And I will call it a worldie because the construction of this deal could be fantastic. It involves Jaden Sancho, but we're going to start off with where this deal will reside because it's coming in from Marzio, who has given us two very big updates about why he is to be listened to when it comes in relation to Italy. So, in relation to Jaden Sancho, hot hours ahead as Juventus totally focus on Jaden Sancho from Manchester United. Chiesa is deal done, here we go, to Liverpool. That frees up the space and some funds for them to go hot on Sancho. And if anybody doesn't believe that Marzio is to be listened to when it comes to Italian news, he's also just dropped in the last few seconds that Scott McTominay will not arrive in Italy today. It's more likely to be tomorrow as there's still a little bit of paperwork to be done between Manchester United and Napoli. Marzio, when it comes to Italy, knows his stuff, and we're going to follow this through on Jaden Sancho, which is very, very good. And I'll tell you why I think it's brilliant from Ineos if it happens. But also, we've got updates on Ivan Toney and on Ben Chilwell, both been linked with Manchester United talks today. Is it end of transfer season madness, or is there something in it? We'll talk about that as well. BC says it in the chat straight away. Lucian, welcome to Members Club. Look, I tweeted this a couple of hours ago because somebody messaged me saying that, look, I wouldn't panic too much about Sterling and Chelsea. Juventus is where this is heading. Lo and behold, Marzio a couple of hours later comes out with it. The next few hours are key. Juventus want Jaden Sancho. Sancho likes the idea of Juventus. If he goes to Juventus, he will play. The football Juventus are going to play under Motta is very, very exciting. And Juventus haven't really been at the forefront of Italian football for quite a while. So it's a very exciting project where he will get to play. Whereas Chelsea, it could be exciting, it could be chaotic. So Sancho and Juventus look like a dream match. Why is this an Ineos worldie? Because it's exactly what we said on Monday. If you keep Chelsea in the race, you lure Juventus to go hard. And that is exactly what's playing out at the moment. Juventus want to get this deal done. Chiesa to Liverpool is now done. They're focusing on Juventus and they're making on Sancho, and they're making a big, big play. Manchester United have brought Chelsea along for the ride. I mean, it doesn't mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and say I know what's happening. No, I was literally tweeting 10 minutes ago about, remember a few weeks ago when people were doing the eyes for Kadioglu, like they know what's going on around Man United. They haven't got a bloody clue. We never spoke to Kadioglu. We've never been in for Kadioglu. And I can't sit here and say that Sancho's 100% going to Juventus and that Ineos have played Chelsea to get Juventus to do what they need them to do. Until it happens, we don't know. But it's very much looking like that's the ploy, that's the play. Keep Chelsea in the race in case you need to use them at the end, but motivate Juventus to do the deal if they want to do it. And that's negotiating. That's high-end business. And that is what it appears Ineos are doing. And I think that from the situation of a week ago, where I would have been sat there going, there's a very big chance Jaden Sancho is going to stay at Manchester United. We're now sat here on Wednesday afternoon going, well, the chances of him leaving are probably 90%. Whereas a week ago, it was probably 60% he was going to stay. So to get that swing and to be sat in a situation where you've got two clubs fighting it out for him, I think however we've constructed this, and some of it will have fell in our lap, but you've still got to play the game. I think it would be perfect for everybody if Sancho goes to Juventus and we remove Sancho from our club forever. Now, whether there'll be a loan aspect to this, maybe there will be. But there's good numbers being mentioned around it. We're talking about, even if he goes on loan, we could get £6-7 million, which will obviously go a long way to covering off wages, which they will pay some of his wages as well. And if there is an obligation to buy in there as well, happy days, because I think he will do well. I know I've got a bit high pitched like Canning. I think he actually will do well in Serie A. Like, he's done well in the Bundesliga, and I think in that type of a league, look, McTominay's gone there. Lukaku has done very well there. He wouldn't do it in the Premier League. I think Sancho would do well. So look, let's see where this is playing. But as I said, breaking news from Italy. Juventus have sold Chiesa to Liverpool, 10 million euros plus add-ons. That's here we go. That's done and dusted. Juventus now, according to Di Marzio, absolutely focused on Jaden Sancho and getting that deal done. Which, look, from the position of this morning where we had all this Sterling crap, you know what? I'm just going to throw this in here. Raheem Sterling, although it's not been as long, reminds me a little bit of Southgate. You know when Southgate was being linked with the Man United job and we were all panicking and blaming Ashworth and this, that and the other? Sterling is almost like the player equivalent of Southgate, where everyone's going, no, 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 it's bloody Ashworth again. Did it happen? Will it happen? I think we need to learn that if you're going to play the game and you're going to play the transfer game, sometimes you've got to throw a bit of a red herring in there to get what you want. And if Sancho ends up at Juventus, we will have played a very, very good game. Ike says, don't you think Chiesa to Liverpool is a bit of a bargain? Look, I've had my say about it. I think that Beth tweeted earlier, why have we not done a swap deal for Chiesa? I don't think it works, really. If we did a swap deal for Sancho and Chiesa, it wouldn't work, would it? Because Chiesa's just gone for £10 million. Jaden Sancho's value is about 40. So you can't do a swap deal. You'd have to say to Juventus, give us Chiesa and £25 million, which they're not going to do. So I don't think a swap deal was ever possible there. And Juventus can't afford to pay for Sancho anyway. So it wasn't possible to do the swap deal. I understand why people think we could, but financially it wouldn't make any sense. Chiesa, for me, on his day, is the best Italian player. But he has fallen massively. I mean, he's fell off. Not as bad as Sky Sports News, but he has fell off. And I think that Liverpool can afford to take the risk because they're not asking... You know, like if Chiesa went to Spurs, there'd be pressure. He's got to start. He's got to play well. He's got to play on the right-hand side. At Liverpool, he hasn't got to start. He hasn't got to start, has he? He's got to... They'll have done a calculated risk assessment around him. I would like to be in a position where we could do it, but I don't think we are. It's better for Sancho to go, even just on loan, says Akash, than to just stay at United. His value will decrease if he stays at United. Look, if we can get a loan with an obligation to buy, or we can sell him, even better. Mario Franco, from a FFP perspective, it makes absolutely no sense. With Juventus desperate for a winger, it seems negative tactics. No excuse for not signing a left-back, do you think, says Mario. Chiesa injury record is bad. We haven't missed out, says Miles. Do me a favour and never mention Sancho and 90% in the same sentence again. Cameron, as soon as I said it, I knew what I'd done. Sean says, purely hypothetical. I know Sancho-Sterling swap is a big no, but would you swap Sancho and Anthony for him? No, I'm not giving him bloody 2 players for a player I don't want, Sean. Come on. Akash, welcome to Members Club. You're a legend. And what would your ideal, realistic finish to this window be? Says Shane. We'll delve into that. And Miles has gifted a membership. He's a legend. Thank you very much for that. So Jaden Sancho to Juventus is hotting up. Let's hope that that's the deal that gets done, because I think that's the one that brings the most pleasure to everybody. And it is certainly hotting up. Don't want to see Jaden Sancho in a swap deal for Raheem Sterling. And look, forget Raheem Sterling. Let's not talk about all the reasons we do or we don't want him. Let's just look at it like this. As a professional football club, do you sell a player that could bounce back to a rival in your league or to a league where you won't play them for at least 12 months? We won't be playing Juventus, will we? I think Juventus are in the Champions League. We're not. So I think the way you look at it is, from a common sense professional point of view, don't put a player that you own into your league in a rival shirt where they can prove a point and make you look bloody stupid. So, yeah, definitely. Kone, here we go, says, Chiesa, here we go. Kone, here we go. Let's have a quick look at this then. I've got to talk to you about Toney and Chilwell as well, but apparently we've got a here we go. So I'm just going to have a look at this. I mean, where is Fabrizio and why is he not on my list? Oh, he's second. There he is. Fabrizio. Here we go. Here we go. All documents are ready for 2006 born Marley talent Sekou Kone to complete his move to Manchester United. Exclusive story to be confirmed soon, as United have signed all docs. Formal steps, one for the future. It was here we go on 22nd of August. That's what I was getting confused about. It was already here we go on the 22nd of August. He's basically... really Yeah, so it's just basically, yeah, Fabrizio said last week that it was here we go, just needed to sort some documents out, but it will happen. Formal steps will follow in the next 24 hours. So thanks for the update on that one. I was getting a bit confused, but yeah, that's Toney, isn't it? The Mali under-17 international. Look, I always forget about him. Toney and the other two lads that are coming in, one from Crystal Palace and one from Arsenal. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, definitely very, very good. Work permit sorted, says Architect. Sterling is a top pro, unlike Sancho, says Enjoy Writing. He's really top pro, isn't he? Half an hour before Chelsea's opening game of the season, you're releasing a press pack about why you're pissed off with the club. Yeah, we definitely need people like that. I mean, it's just the sort of information we need before the start of a big game. We need a Raheem Sterling PR drop, definitely. It's just what we're missing in the last few years. You know, a bit of toxicity and, division in the dressing room and people putting out PR stuff to protect themselves. We really have missed that in the last few years. Yeah, I agree. Top pro. Anyway, it's better for Sancho to go, even just on loan. I've done that one. Okay, let's talk about Ivan Toney. Asian food cuisine is going Toney with an exclamation mark. Also got a story on Chilwell to bring you. So Ivan Toney today has been linked to Manchester United. I think it came from the Daily Mail, who would not be my number one news outlet today, having been victim of their bullshit myself. But I'm always available for comment for people who want to stir up shit and lie about me, by the way. But obviously that doesn't work, does it? It's better to just write the lie. So I think they've written another load of bollocks here, to be honest, because basically the story around Ivan Toney revolves around Chelsea. And what's being said is that basically Chelsea are going all in on Osimhen and they want Osimhen, but they have Ivan Toney waiting in the wings in case Osimhen doesn't work. Very clever from Chelsea, actually. Very, very clever. They need a top-class striker. They want Osimhen, but if it all falls apart, they don't want to be left naked. So they've gone and got a look at Toney, who is waiting on who can go to Saudi, but he's sort of going, I'll go to Saudi if the Chelsea deal doesn't happen. So that's where it's sort of going. But what this article did, we're very used to it. In the first paragraph, they've mentioned United talks, but Chelsea is the club that Toney wants. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. When you read the article, they are just doing the whole use United for a little bit more interest. It even says in the article, United have held initial talks with Toney, but he wants to go to Chelsea. So you get these United fans that want Toney going, all talks begin. So you want to believe the bullshit, but then you don't want to believe what the story is really saying. So we've had talks. People want to believe we're in talks for Toney, but they don't want to believe the rest of the story, which says United have held initial talks, but his priority is Chelsea. So I choose to go, bullshit. We're not even in for him. We're just being used again. How the hell are Manchester United? And this is where this community is great, because you will get bounce back. But I pose the question, if we're in for Toney with 2 days to go, where's the money coming from? And why would you go for Ivan Toney and bring a third striker in when you haven't got a left back and you need another midfielder? Where's the money coming from? We haven't got any bloody money. We've only been able to do Agate because McTominay's going. So where are we going to pull out this money from? We're going to go and find it under the bed, or we're going to go and do a bloody bank robbery or something. Like, we haven't got the money for Ivan Toney, so it won't happen. I just want to say, I've got no inside information about whether it will happen or not. And if it does happen on Friday, the disclaimer is it would be absolutely sensationally amazing to do that deal in 48 hours. But logically, we won't do it. And look, you know what? I was speaking to somebody the other day, and I remember telling you this story back in February. Arsenal looked at Ivan Toney very, very clearly, and were very much looking at him. And Edu, who I think is their sporting director, is well known in the industry. Edu decided he wasn't the right personality for the Arsenal team. And that's the story. Do with that what you want. That doesn't mean he's a knobhead. That doesn't mean he's a big time Charlie. That doesn't mean, it could mean he's too quiet. It might mean, he doesn't like playing cards. Who knows what it means? But Arsenal did look at Toney because they liked the player, but they felt that he wasn't the right fit for the squad. And that could have been just that he wouldn't suit being on the bench for people like Havertz and be a team player. Who knows? But Arsenal looked at him and decided no. Spurs looked at him and decided to go for Solanke. Manchester United will have looked at Toney and decided to go for Xerxes. So I don't see us going in for him late in the window. In hindsight, would you have preferred Ivan Toney or Victor Osimhen over Xerxes? Look, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. If you're basically saying to me, would I rather have Osimhen or Xerxes, I would take Osimhen every day of the week. Yeah, I think Victor Osimhen would have to be a consideration. I mean, there was a time, probably at the start of last summer, where we were talking about Harry Kane and Victor Osimhen. I think I wanted Osimhen over Harry Kane. So I hold Victor Osimhen very, very highly. As many of you watch the show know, or That's Football, I really do rate Victor Osimhen, and I'm not about to change. I've done this with Liverpool signings before. Just because I'm a Man United fan and I don't like Chelsea and I don't like Liverpool, I'm not going to look at that Chiesa deal and go, he's Italy's best player when he plays well, and I like Chiesa. It's an interesting deal. Let's see what he does. And if Victor Osimhen goes to Chelsea, I think they're a major threat for the top four, which is a major threat for us as well. So another reason not to give Chelsea Sancho. Like, give Chelsea Sancho, we could get Victor Osimhen. Oh, I'd love to be 7th in the league in May, watching fucking Sancho, setting Osimhen up for yet another goal. No, don't do that deal, definitely. But no, I think Osimhen, of course I would have took Osimhen over Xerxes. I think he's a fantastic player, but I'm very happy with Xerxes and I'm happy with the business that we've done. Let's hijack Chiesa if Sancho's leaving, says Eric. And just off the subject, why can't we play Amas, Obi Martin and Toney? Barca had 3-quarter 17-year-olds play last night. If you're good enough, you're old enough, says Matty. 100%. I mean, look, Kobe Mainoo was 18 when he was playing for Manchester United last season. Garnacho's played for Man United at 18 as well. Still only 19. Erik Ten Hag will play a player if they're ready. I just don't think we need to throw them in when they're not ready. If Amas is ready, he will play. If Obi Martin is ready, he will play. I think we've got absolutely the right manager and the right coaching setup for that to happen. But if they're not playing, I would trust them that they're not ready yet. But 100% they will play when they're ready. Michael Owen played for the Liverpool. It doesn't matter, says Enjoy Writing. Yeah, you didn't turn in last night, did you? What's Michael Owen's legacy at Man United? Absolutely nothing. You could wipe your arse on it. It doesn't, there's no affection towards Michael Owen. There just isn't. Hi, Mark. Love the content, mate. Who would you like to see United sign before the window closes, says Ben. Well, I'd like to see us buying a left-back, but there is another story to bring you this afternoon that it's all about Ben Chilwell. Manchester United, separate to the Sancho-Sterling conversation, Man United are looking at a deal for Ben Chilwell, and this has come in the last couple of hours. I would like Man United to buy a left-back. I really would. I'm talking Gutierrez or Kadioglu, who's now gone to Brighton. I want a good left back that's going to be at this football club for the next 4 years and actually be good enough to start for Manchester United. That's what I want. So in answer to the question, if we get a left back in who is a good left back before 11 o'clock on Friday night, then I'm very, very happy. I don't think we're going to do it. But is Ben Chilwell better than nothing? No. No, I don't like the idea of Ben Chilwell at all. Again, it's desperate. And I don't like this deal. And I'll tell you why I don't like the deal. Because he's injury prone, and he's more injury prone than Luke Shaw, who is the guy he would be coming into deputy for. And as an England fan, well, as an England person, as an English person, I have seen many international meetups for England where Luke Shaw and Ben Chilwell are injured at the same time. Almost to a level where you think, well, are they actually hanging out together? Oh, okay, we've got some breaking news on this one. It came in from The Independent, and now The Independent have just said that Man United have rejected the opportunity to move for Chilwell. Raheem Sterling is still being discussed. So the Chilwell deal has been rejected. That is a real positive. Do not want Ben Chilwell at Manchester United, and it would have been massively foolish for us to do that deal. The reason I wouldn't go for Ben Chilwell is because there is no doubt that Ben Chilwell is a talented player. No doubt. When he went from Leicester to Chelsea, I thought it was a reasonably good deal. I can't remember what the fee was, but I thought he's a good player. The problem with Ben Chilwell is he's injured more than Luke Shaw, and he's not as good as Luke Shaw. So it really is that simple. You know, when you're trying to build a project, don't cut corners. You know, don't cut corners. Don't try and go for quick fixes, like, because I bet, you know, it will cost you in the long run. And Ben Chilwell would not be that person. Delaney just tweeted Chilwell to United is off. I think that's the same source, Akash, who said that Chilwell was being looked at by Manchester United. Tobias Shadow says, afternoon, Mark. Best midfield signing since Sir Alex Ferguson. I think Casemiro or Pogba for stature, but I would say Herrera for actual performance and consistency. Bruno's a midfielder, Tobias, so I think it would be Bruno for me. With the transfer window we are having, I believe the pressure is on Ten Hag to perform and get the results. No excuses this season, says Samir. Well, we'll certainly be delving into that, won't we, after this transfer window closes, and I look forward to it. You know, we're going to be playing 2 games a week again. We will have Europa League football. The draw for that is on Friday at midday. We'll be live for that, of course. Yeah, I think once we get this transfer window closed, we can really delve into the, you know, requirements, expectations, issues, positives, analysis, and all that jazz, because the football will be back and there won't be anything we need to worry about in relation to transfers, but we still do have a couple of days left. Hi, Mark. Hope you remember me from the SG show. SG, love the show. What's SG, Brian? From SG? I don't know what SG is. Anyone know what SG is? Where are the goals coming from, Mark? Says enjoy writing. We've got plenty of goals in that team. Isn't our XG second in the league? What's the story with Lindelof, says Tess? Well, I mean, it was Damazio talking about Lazio. Damazio talking about Lazio for Lindelof. We'll have to wait and see if that could happen. Sancho plus 20 million swap for Osman, says Charlie Rogers. We haven't got 20 million, Charlie. I thought it through. I've never been to Singapore if SG is Singapore. I don't know what it's on about. Carrie says, hi Mark, lately I don't know what to think. Ten Hag been making some questionable decisions. The young players might be ready, but he's stuck in his ways with playing the Rashfords, etc. Love the book. I'm listening to it on Audible. Thank you very much, Carrie. Thank you very much for your support on the book. Everybody who's getting hold of that as well. Always good to hear that. Look, I think Ten Hag had a bad game against Brighton. He's got a massive game against Liverpool on Sunday. And if he makes mistakes, they will be highlighted to a massive level when you play somebody like Liverpool. So he's got a very, very big task ahead of him on Sunday. And he's got to produce. I mean, look, the one thing I will say is that I support this manager and I want him to do very, very well. But I agree that this is a season where he's got to deliver. Look, you know what? I don't know what everybody's thought is on this. Give me some feedback on this. I got a message today from one of the lads, Man United, tweeting out pictures again, or Instagram pictures of Rude in training again. And they were saying, I'm getting really worried about this. And I was like, I think I know what you're going to say. And they were basically saying, look, they're ramming it down our throat, Ruud van Nistelrooy, all the time. Now, I think United are doing it from a place of good. I don't think United's social media team are doing it because they want you all to get used to the fact that he's going to replace Ten Hag or make you start thinking, get Ten Hag out and give Ruud the job. I don't think United are doing that at all. I just think they know that if you put a picture out of Ruud van Nistelrooy, everybody bloody loves it. So they're just doing it from a commercially, let's pump it up point of view. But it is an interesting point in the sense that it does potentially feed negativity around Ten Hag, because there already are people in the media and in the fan base who are talking about Ruud should be manager over Ten Hag, and it's a small movement at the moment, but it is there, isn't it? Even the cameras on match day. You can learn so much from the cameraman on match day as well. You really can. Interesting tweet from Mike Keegan, actually. Manchester United. This is from Mike Keegan, who's obviously been very good on the financials of Manchester United over the last 2 years, specifically around the sale. This is just breaking news from Mike Keegan. Believe Manchester United's kitty is pretty much empty after Agate. There's a view the club's name is being used in an attempt to smoke out bidders for Ivan Toney, Ben Chilwell and Raheem Sterling. It is that time of the window. It's nice when you get vindication as a community from a decent journalist, because that is essentially what I said about Ivan Toney 15 minutes ago. And it's essentially what we said this morning, isn't it? What happens in the next 2 days is anything and nothing. Anything can happen, but nothing can happen. But what will certainly happen in the next 48 hours is our name will be used, and it might not mean anything. And that's what I would say. I would just say, look, has anybody this summer transfer window come out with a story about a player that we've actually signed? No. Every player we've signed has come from Ornstein. Man United have agreed personal terms with Agate. Or Simon Jones, Man United have agreed personal terms with Branthwaite and a bid is going in. Or Romano, Delit, something like that. We're not nobody this summer transfer window, nobody has given us a story that's turned out to be true before it was something big coming from the club, i.e. personal terms or something like that. So I think that where we are is that we will get a lot of stories about the one I spoke to you about, Toney. Man United are in talks with Toney. We're not in talks with Toney, though, are we? Because if we were in talks with Toney, it would be from Ornstein or from Fabrizio. Man United agree personal terms with Toney. So we're not in talks with Toney. We're just being used. And if we're being used for Sterling as well, even better. But there's an aspect, as I was saying at the start of the video, that if Chelsea are using Man United to smoke out interest for Sterling, we've used Chelsea to smoke out interest from Juventus. So happy days. Happy days. Braden says you missed my super chat. I won't have missed it, Braden. Don't forget about the Carabao Cup draw tonight, says Braden. Oh yeah, we'll do a live stream for that. The day I do a bloody live stream for a Carabao Cup draw is the day we fall off. I mean, I'll do it for the Europe, but I'm not doing it for the bloody Carabao Cup. I presume it will be done later tonight anyway, that. We're live at 8 o'clock. Hermoso would be a good backup left back and left centre back, says Dominic. But as per Mike Keegan, we haven't got any money. It's very, very clear we haven't got any money. Mr. Creed says, what are your thoughts on the mail story about you, Mark? Absolutely, mate. I think it doesn't surprise me because I work in football, but the fact that you can just write lies is one of the worst things about journalism, isn't it? It's absolute bullshit. And I you know what? I don't feel I have to talk to my community about it because it's not something that we've brought in. It's that cretinous journalist and his article, and it's complete and utter bullshit. But I'm happy to talk about it, but why don't they do a proper article about it and apologise for talking complete and utter shit? I mean, apparently I earned £4 million in 2023. I mean, I don't know what to say. And also it says, the best bit is, in the article it says, calls me a Nottingham Forest fan. And as we know from many years of doing this show, this started from a guy who's got his own football channel, does United content, wished I was dead on Christmas Day and called me a Forest fan. And that's where it starts from. So who are you going to believe? A guy who actually pretends that he'll speak to anybody and, you know, reacts to everything, but bottled the chance to do a video with me, and I even offered up £1,000 for him. Wished I was dead and started the Forest fan thing, which now still resides today and even gets written about in journalists, because a bottler who wished I was dead, who's never met me, started the Forest fan thing, and then newspaper articles use it, doesn't even bloody know me, they use it, and then they write shit about that. The British press are a disgrace, and they don't reach out to get the truth, because the truth doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, does it? Don't forget about the Carabao Cup draw. Big Energy, thanks very much for your super chat. Chiesa to Liverpool, how you rate the signing, says Curran. I rate the player. I don't rate Liverpool. Look, if Chiesa was signing for Spurs, I'd be excited about it because Spurs are an inoffensive club. Liverpool, obviously, to a United fan, you don't want him to do well, but I am intrigued by Chiesa. I do like the player. I know Ugarte deal is done, but what do you think about Palace's Wharton, and could you see him as a future midfield target to play alongside Mainu? I think Wharton's a fan theory, Michael. Yeah, I don't see it as something that's likely to happen. Dion says, no top four without getting a left-footed left-back. It's an interesting point, Dion, and I don't think it's one that won't fall on deaf ears in this community. Nabil says it's not 4 million, it's 8 million. And Andre says, I know this went cold, but how about Branthwaite as a left centre-back and a left-back? Might be last transfer window we make in order to leave a good impression. Andre, I know this went cold, but how about Look, I like Branthwaite. I think we would have bought Branthwaite if we could have done the deal. There was talk of it going to the wire, but again, where would the money come from? On Wharton, he's going to cost about 60, 70, 80 million pound next summer, and you've got to find that money to spend on one player, and have Man United got that? He's more likely to go to fucking Man City, isn't he? Or, you know where Wharton will end up? Who likes spending 100 million pounds on as many midfielders as they can? He would end up at Chelsea. Mark, the way Ineos have conducted the window, do you think they've gotten rid of the leaks? 100%, Patrick. I mean, I don't think they've gotten rid of the... My understanding of Manchester United is that it's just the way he managed the media. I mean, there was a time where you could get in contact with Manchester United 6-7 years ago, and you could say, I've read a story in The Sun that we're in for Kingsley Coman, and they would say, well, we're not going to deny that we've scouted him because we scout a lot of players. That opens up a journalist, doesn't it? If I ring up Man United or get in contact with United and say, are you in for Kingsley Coman? And they say, well, we're not going to deny it because we scout many players. You've got your story there. And I think what United have done, they've just tightened up. They've just tightened up on what they comment on. And therefore, it's, if you give a journalist an inch, they'll take a yard, won't they? But if you give them nothing, they'll suffocate. We saw it last season with Ten Hag when he banned a couple of journalists. They moaned about it, but then they realised, and they've started being a little bit nicer to Ten Hag now, haven't they? Because if they're not in the press conference, they suffocate because they need that. Tom Grant says, I don't care how much you earn, Mark. What you've put into this channel and community is priceless and beyond anything a Pratt can write up. Cheers, says Tom. Mate, I would happily sit on a credible podcast and discuss the success or failure or anything to do with the United stand, and that's football. I'm more than happy to do that. But I'm not going to get into an open debate about an article that's got more holes in it than a hedgehog's pillar, because actually I started off, I did crap in my GCSEs, I didn't do A-levels, and I didn't go to university, but I ended up doing quite a few professional jobs before I did this. And as part of that, I learnt in life that you don't start throwing information out there unless you've got your ducks in order. And that article it's libelous. If I could be asked, I could waste money suing that journalist because he's absolutely a twat. Like, literally doesn't know what he's talking about. You don't look at somebody's earning. It's not even earnings. It's got it completely wrong. Like, 80% of that number is nothing to do with what I do here. So it's completely wrong. Completely wrong. But also, why can't people make money? Like, do you not work? Does your neighbour not work? Like, I don't know. I don't get what the problem is with people. It's jealousy, isn't it? I don't know what I'm even talking about. It's jealousy and bitterness because said journalist probably doesn't earn that much and is probably under pressure from editor to come up with clickbait articles that are based on fantasy. And well done. He's achieved that today, hasn't he? But absolutely shocking. And you wonder why. This type of content does so well, because mainstream journalism is just can't get away with it anymore because social media exposes it. 20 years ago, when you had no social media, there was no right to reply. Nowadays, people call this shit they call it out because it's absolutely incredible. But we see it, look, let's get it back to the football. We see this in relation to football. It's like the Ivan Toney story. We're not in talks with Ivan Toney, and yet, poor Beth and, Jimmy from the chat, they've wanted Toney all summer. So they see that and they go, oh, could this be true? And it's not. It's not. Nabil says, things started from people who are jealous. Yep. And not sure why it's anyone's business who makes what, says Akash. Look, I'm very proud of the United Stand. I'm very proud of this community. We started it from absolutely nothing. And, many people have created a career off this nothing. Some of them aren't with us anymore, but they're doing their own thing, making money. Some people left this because they wanted to make money doing their own thing. People working for us make money. We have an office and a studio in Manchester where people local to Manchester make money and earn a living. We're not making people redundant. We're recruiting people. I don't see what the... And we're number one, Staffy. Yeah, what we do is very, very good. But people don't like it because the establishment don't like it. I did a LinkedIn post about this yesterday. They're worried. What do people do when they're worried? They try and chop your legs off. It's the same as a footballer. How many footballers have we seen over the years? They come through as the next big thing, and then the media get bored of them. Oh, he's a bit up himself. Let's try and chop his legs off. Whatever. But they're cowards because they won't reach out for the proper story. They'll just tell lies and then hide. Will Chelsea regret these horde of purchases, or did they play their cards right? Seems that they'll have FFP issues in the future, says Ram. We're not the Chelsea stand, but what Chelsea are doing is they fully expect to get a 2-year transfer ban. So they're accumulating as many young players on long contracts as they can so that they can keep hold of them and try and stay relevant. It's not a bad idea, but what they need to do is buy the right players. Club informing fans and public through Mike. Good, says Akil. And thank you very much for that. We've got a Romano tweet coming in. This show's gone a lot longer than I thought, but we've had a good couple of updates coming in while we've been live. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe, by the way. Manchester United current stance is clear on Chilwell. No interest, no talks ongoing. Look, I just want this Juventus deal to get done. That's what I want. Bring in Sterling and sell Rashford, says Timple City. Rashford's not going anywhere. What we need from Rashford is some good form. That's what we need. But Romano just confirming that we've got that we're not in for Chilwell. Thanks everyone for watching. We are back at 8 o'clock. It is Wednesday, but we might be back before that. Thank you very much for tuning in. Fantastic. Stay safe and don't forget. Hey, if you want to know the truth and you want to read the real story, get my book. There we go. Perfect. You could be reading and listening to the truth now instead of reading and listening shit. Thank you very everybody much for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, and we're back at 8 o'clock, if not before. Speak soon.